Welcome, everybody, here to the XFL Sports Live Show. My name is Andrew Valentin, and I hope you're all having a wonderful Wednesday. We are coming to you live from the Illinois Media School here in Lombard, Illinois. Again, where we are, ladies and gentlemen, day or night. I hope it is just right. And with me, as always, ladies and gentlemen, is the ever amazing, yeah, I know, that's your thing, David. That's not my thing, okay? Yeah, I know. Represent at Lombard, right? But I am, of course, with here the ever amazing and wonderful and handsome devil himself, Mr. Drew Gwillem. Drew, how you doing, man?
A handsome devil, apparently.
You don't like that? I can get you some horns.
I'm horny.
Yeah, there it is.
You were waiting for it, weren't you?
Absolutely.
Hey, you started it.
I did. Listen, man, I go through the source every day to try and find a new word for you, so I'm going to try and keep racking them up best I can, just to teach you kids out there the best words possible to use to that lovely partner of yours potentially in the near future. See, we're helping you learn. We're an educational show at the same time. Put that on the track, too. All right, well, Drew, are you ready to do this, my man?
Yes, sir.
Let's do this then, folks. So for the first half, we are kicking it off with, yes, the NFL, and wouldn't you know it, shocker, Washington caught up in even more scandal. Yes, if you haven't heard, yes, I know, right? Shocking.
Way.
Yeah, who would have thought? The Washington Commanders, obviously, going complete commando on this one, as Congress has put out a letter. Yeah, no underwear on this one.
They're getting caught with their pants down for sure.
Well, that's part of the problem on this for number one.
Way to go, Washington.
Number two is Congress has detailed the alleged allegations against the Washington Commanders, which apparently definitely fall under unlawful conduct for sure. It is saying that Daniel Snyder apparently had a second book where he was not only keeping record of the money that was being kept on the side away from visiting teams, but also apparently from season ticket holders as well, that is estimated into the range of $5 million. Now, we've already kind of talked about this last week, but now it seems like this is actually kind of like coming to the forefront of being a huge major issue. Obviously, we've expressed a lot of this interest on what's going to happen here with Washington. So, Drew, now that we're hearing that obviously this could be a reality, this could be something serious going forward with Washington. Obviously, the debate now rages on what happens with Daniel Snyder and this team. So I ask you, I mean, I know we've kind of talked about this millions of times already, but do you think that this has to be like is this finality for them? Do you think that it's time now for Washington to move on and find a way to either go quietly into the night, or do you think that this is going to be something where they maybe fight it tooth and nail? What are your thoughts?
I think we're way past this is the final straw.
Yeah.
There's no could be serious.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that has happened with this team is and has been serious.
Yeah.
So this is just this is extreme theft.
Mm-hmm.
$5 million, probably more than that.
Yeah.
How much of this did he keep off the books, and was he able to hide even more now that this is finally coming out?
Right.
I think we're way past due on, which doesn't happen very often. You rarely see this happen, but you're no longer allowed to have the privilege of owning a team.
Right.
There's how many rich people out there with tons and tons of money that will come into this organization and be a better person and run the team better and take control of the culture there and the issues that they're having, and totally turn this around. There's plenty of people out there that would be willing to buy a football franchise that is worth billions,
right?
Worth tons of money. Like, what's the NFL? Well, I don't know what they're doing. I don't know why there's such a holdup. I guess you have to do your investigations and run through that process. But as far as everything that this organization has done, not the organization as a whole, but Snyder, the owner, in charge of the whole franchise, he's the one pulling these strings.
Right.
He's the one that's responsible for all this. And he's the one doing these things.
Right.
The one under fire. I don't think there's at any point any further this guy should be allowed to own this team or run and be a figure of authority for any organization ever again. You can just be a rich guy and be an asshole and a scumbag, the person that you are on the side alone, do your own thing. You're clearly not gonna change.
Right.
So at some point they have to get him out of here. And I think that should be the precedent set for across Major League Sports altogether. You've got your owners like the Reds owner who's coming out and saying what he's saying, and where are you gonna go?
Right. Yeah.
Not trying to win. Clearly, these owners of these teams care about the money, and that's about it, because they're not trying to win, and it shows.
Absolutely.
I don't know what you call this other than just straight nonsense and unacceptable behavior from somebody in his position.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Well, so the fullness of this, so it is being alleged that the Washington Commanders failed to refund security deposits, concealed revenue, and again, they kept 2 financial books. The U.S. House Oversight and Reform Committee is alleging in a 20-page letter that was sent to, I'm sorry, I'm blanking on where it was sent to. Federal Committee, I apologize on it. Federal Trade Committee, there you go. The Federal Trade Committee it was sent to. They're alleging numerous acts against the Washington Commanders. Obviously, Daniel Snyder. A lot of people have been talking about, why is it so tough to move on from this guy? I mean, our guy David in there, we were kind of talking, and what was it you called him, David? You called him the Teflon owner?
They called John Gotti the Teflon Don.
Yes.
Dan Snyder is the Teflon Dan.
Yes. He's a very untouchable owner because obviously he's a savvy businessman. He's very involved when it comes to the TV talks and the ownership deals. And obviously, to some degree, we can kind of see maybe why, but, how much is this really going to affect him? I feel like this is just going to be a fine thing, unfortunately. This is going to be pay the fine, pay the money back, pay the revenue. And I hate saying that because he's just such an easy owner to hate on and despise and all that stuff. But at the same time, because the NFL, I think, sees the value in keeping him, they'll find every reason to say, well, you can keep the franchise, which is just ridiculous, but they will do it.
If you've broken financial laws, those are
yes.
laws. Any one of us would be in big damn trouble for
going
it.
to big boy jail.
Yeah. Big trouble.
Yeah.
Okay. Why the hell is this rich prick any different?
Right. Yeah. And
all the way, it's everywhere.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Oh, you've got money? Yeah, we'll let you skate by.
It's an unfair world. I mean, I'm totally with you there, Drew. But hopefully something will come of this. We'll obviously be looking forward more to the story, see what happens there. But let's get on to a next one because this one's a little bit happier. So as we all know, the XFL, ladies and gentlemen, it is coming in 2023. The new coaches, by the way, have been announced. And you will see faces like Wade Phillips, Hines Ward, Bob Stoops, Rod Woodson. There's some really good coaches coming into this one. Some really good football minds will be in this thing. And obviously star faces too, which is going to help sell this league also. But some great news as well, if you don't know. So this spring league will be partnering with the NFL Alumni Academy, which will help them to scout and train players for the XFL. Basically, they're taking a lot of the players that are in the free agency market. They're going to bring them out to, I believe it's the Hall of Fame Stadium is where they do their practices, train them up, allow the XFL to scout them, and then they can figure out what they're going to do with the XFL draft, coming up when they start to select these players. So I think obviously we know that they've already partnered with the NFL to development rules. Now they're talking about helping the XFL to develop and scout players. It's not a developmental league yet, but it seems to be kind of trending that way. We've talked about this numerous times before. But I ask you this, Drew, what do you think about the XFL and the NFL doing this partnership? Do you think this is a next step to becoming a partnership league? Do you think this is something that may happen maybe even by next year possibly?
So, yeah, I think the XFL finally partnering with the NFL, we all know NFL is king.
Yes.
It's been that way forever. It's not changing.
According to our boy B-Mac, NFL is king.
NFL is king.
Yes.
I say the same thing for a long time, so I'm right with you, B-Mac.
Mm-hmm.
XFL partnering with the NFL is what, to me, is like one of the only, it's probably the big thing that's going to make it successful.
Yes.
If it's going to be successful, it's because they're going the NFL way in partnership with the NFL.
Right.
You could be a prince. That's all right.
Yeah.
But this is gives you the possibility to do that. Big star names from the NFL who are some Hall of Famers, retired guys going in there to coach. Solid NFL or ex-college coach and Stoops, who was very good.
Absolutely.
So they have all the things they need, especially with The Rock being one of the go-getters for this.
Mm-hmm.
Everything he touched seems to turn to gold. So
yes.
I think this is just going to be another one of those things. And like you said, it's trending in that direction to be kind of like a minor league for the NFL, which I think is will be nothing but a positive. Yes, they have their practice squads and all that, but the potential for maybe some better players than what are on these practice squads. Yeah, maybe if they're better than that, they'd end up in the NFL anyways. But this gives other guys the possibility who can't even make practice squad rosters to improve their game and maybe show something, get extra training, like through NFL scouts and all that. It's just going to help these players improve their game and make it a better product on the field.
Yeah, absolutely. David, you had some thoughts back there, man?
I find it very funny that the NFL doesn't touch the XFL when Vince McMahon owns it.
Yep.
But the moment Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and his conglomerate buy it, we're in.
Yeah.
And also, the top 4 picks, we've already talked about this in the XFL draft. Number 1, Baker Mayfield. Number 2, Colin Kaepernick. Number 3, Johnny Football. And number 4, Tim Tebow, because you got to have some Jesus.
There you go.
Hey, man, there's your 4 stars. Honestly, I
like the Kaepernick, because that's going to give this dude, if nobody's taking him in the NFL, that's going to give you a chance. Somebody's going to take you in the XFL. Like, come on.
Oh yeah.
Like, it gives him the chance to get out there, show his game some, and then put more game tape together.
Absolutely.
At full speed.
Absolutely. Well, and me and David were talking about this before, and you and I have talked about this kind of stuff. The idea of him maybe going to one of these other leagues to show your stuff is absolutely crucial to helping to show people, yes, you can play like in game time situation. I also said this for Baker as well. If Baker leaves Cleveland, if they drop him and he just goes to the XFL, 2-3 years down the line, somebody ditches their quarterback. You don't think they're looking for a guy to at least be a placeholder? Maybe you've learned how to be a better quarterback. Maybe you've developed a little bit more. You don't think that's a great... I mean, be the king, even if it's a small kingdom. Be the king of that small kingdom. You're still the top of the dog. You're still the top dog there. So there's great possibility there, and it can only help to benefit you rather than sit out in free agency and not do anything. I mean, it can only help you.
See, for me, I still think Baker's better than what the XFL is. I get what you're saying. I get where you're coming from there. But to me, the only thing holding him back from being traded is his contract.
Right.
So a team would, if they could just straight up pick him up, I think you would have some teams lining up for him.
Yeah.
There's plenty of crap quarterbacks in this league, and it's such a tough position to find.
Right.
Change of scenery, change of scenario for Baker, different staff, growing up some as well, some maturity for him. But I still think that he's got a place in the NFL, and it's just going to take a little time for him to, work out whatever's going on in Cleveland before they figure out what they're doing with this contract. If they're going to end up trading him after June 1st release or whatnot, who knows?
Yeah, well, they're gonna probably have to move him because after he went on the YNK podcast or whatever and
disrespected,
really started spilling the tea all over the place, if you will, and really letting it all loose on his feelings on the Browns. Some of which just sounded nonsensical to me, but I get it. He's upset, whatever. But hopefully for the XFL, listen, I think you're right. I think joining with the NFL, the next logical step is to be the next developmental league. They clearly have the push between the coaches being there, the man in charge of this thing now with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and now having this connection with the NFL only helps to power this league any further. Dave, what do you got?
You and I have talked about this. If they're going to do that and become the true developmental league, they need to do what they did in the European League and have the symbol of whatever team they got drafted by on the back of their helmet.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that. I like that a lot. I absolutely do. And I think it's taking those steps in the right direction. All you can do at this point is see the game grow more, I think. And you're going to see a lot of talent, I think, bloom from here. We saw it with the XFL the first time around. We saw it a little bit with the AAF. Not a lot, but a little bit. But I'm looking for promise, and I'm excited. I can't wait. And I can't wait for the USFL, which it's coming soon, folks. It's just around the corner here. So excited to see how that's going to play out. More football, the better. What can we say? More football, the better. And speaking of more football, because we have more football we have to get here too, folks, just real quick, obviously, the man of Las Vegas himself, Derek Carr. Yes, if you didn't think the Raiders were already making sure that everything was secure, well, now they've made sure their quarterback is secure. He got a new 3-year, $120.5 million extension. that be Derek Carr getting the giant deal from the Raiders. Now, obviously, controversy has stirred on this because there's the question of how valuable is he, because he is now, I believe, the 7th highest paid quarterback in the NFL. And Drew, this is where I go to you, and I ask the simple question that everybody's now yelling about on the internet. Do you think that this value is proper for Derek Carr? Obviously, the 7th highest paid quarterback means they see a lot in him, and obviously they've done a lot for this team now. So do you think this is too high? Do you think this is just right? Where do you sit at with Derek Carr? Do you think it's too low? I don't know.
I don't think it's too low.
Okay.
I think you have a quarterback that's a good player.
Okay.
With your team. Who else are they going to get?
Yeah.
Who else are they getting right now that's better than Derek Carr? Nobody.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this is the going rate for quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Look at what those numbers keep jumping higher and higher and higher. You
Mm-hmm.
look at these receivers now, higher and higher and higher. It's the same with a lot of these positions. Quarterback's no different. That's your general, your signal caller, your leader of your team. It's supposed to be. Okay. Derek Carr is a very good player. I like Derek Carr a lot more than a lot of people out there. I think, yes, he does things that you scratch your head and you're like, what the hell was that? But guess what? He does a lot of great things too.
Yeah.
And I think the great things outweigh the poor decisions he makes and the bad things he does sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And now pairing him with a stud like Davante Adams and him being his they were teammates in college, so having that rapport already and coming in, it's like we brought Davante Adams here for Carr.
Right.
We're not getting rid of him. He's staying around. Davante Adams is sticking around. And this is just what the going rate is now for a quarterback that's a very good player, and you want to keep him around, you got to pay him.
Yeah, for sure. And they paid him for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, and I agree. I'm in the same boat with you. I've never loved Derek Carr, but I always thought he was very good. I always thought he was extremely talented. He certainly throws the ball very well downfield. I mean, I think he is a guy who can make every throw. I think his decision-making, like you said, at times you can question it. I think he tries to force things a lot.
He's one of those guys that's a very, very good quarterback, but he still needs a good amount of talent around him to be successful. He's not a Brady who can have Julian Edelman be his best wide receiver with a stud tight end,
right,
and still make people better.
Right.
Like Derek Carr still needs help.
Absolutely. Although I will say this, I think had it not been for Derek Carr, there may never been a chance that we had heard about Darren Waller. Now,
right.
You can make the argument, well, maybe somebody would have found him. I definitely think so. Somebody would have found the talent in that guy for sure. But without Derek Carr being that quarterback in Las Vegas, Oakland to Las Vegas, we probably never would have known who Darren Waller was. So I say, and even too, I would say Hunter Renfrow as well.
Yeah.
Like I think he's been a big part of that development kind of in those guys for sure. But I agree with you, not having that talent around you for sure, definitely kind of, you could see the Raiders made the playoffs last year,
right.
10-7. Had they had more around them, they probably would have been 12-5, maybe 11-6, something like that.
And it's really like they had guys,
right?
And now they have that one piece. To me, it's like that one piece that was missing on offense.
Mm-hmm.
That stud guy that can catch anything. That number one wide receiver, that go-to guy, take the attention away from someone else on the outside. Now you're going to see more production out of that other side for receiver,
right?
More production out of the slot, because Hunter Renfrow being your best wide receiver, they don't have to double cover anybody. You double cover Davante Adams, somebody's going to be open.
Yeah.
This money for me too, a lot of it, a good part of that, what goes into this payday for him is what he means to this team, that captain. Look at the adversity that team faced last year.
Right.
And this guy was at the front of press conferences, everything, saying the right things, being there for his team. And he was a huge part of why they were successful last year.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to take that into account as well. This guy has meant a lot to this team and a big time leader for them as well.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, look, I honestly, if you were to ask me, does the money reflect what he's done? I absolutely think so, because let's not forget, this guy did take the Raiders to a 13-3 season. Was it 13-3, right?
Something like
that. Yeah, they had a strong winning season. They looked like a playoff favorite very early in his NFL career. And then obviously he gets hurt. You have to go to Mac McGloin, which you weren't winning with him, unfortunately. But Look, at the end of the day, I think Derek Carr just gets a bad rap because, the Raiders have made some bad decisions drafting number one. They haven't, listen, they got a cornerback they took in the first round that's now been kicked off of how many teams because he keeps making stupid videos and making stupid threats. You had a wide receiver who had a terrible incident occur where he got drunk and then hit and killed somebody. So you have the Raiders just unfortunately getting some good players that make bad decisions and some players that I think they just didn't do the homework on or whatever the case is. But ultimately, you've got the quarterback. You've got the guy. So lock him down. Now you've got his best friend at wide receiver. You've got a tight end that he is like on point with, a wide receiver that he trusts more than anything now, and you can see that. And let's not forget, they do have Alex Leatherwood aside on the offensive line because he's very not good, and I use that in a very relative term. But Colton Miller's been one of the best left tackles, I would say, in the NFL for quite a while now. And he was a guy that a lot of people said, really, he's a good draft pick? Yeah, he's been pretty good for them. And their defense now, Chandler Jones, Max Crosby, you look at that team, it looks like, we've talked about it. That team.
Rockison at corner. Yeah. He's a very good player on the outside.
Absolutely. And they've loaded up that roster. Yeah. So
I honestly like what the Raiders have done to improve their team from what they were in the playoffs to where they are now. It's like, look out.
Yeah.
That's why this division is so scary.
Absolutely.
Because of all the quarterbacks, the pass rushers, but the Raiders did more than that.
Right. Yeah.
They just getting Devontae Adams for offense is going to boost them a ton.
Oh, for sure.
And then the guys on defense as well. Man, this is gonna be fun. I can't wait for football to start again.
Oh yeah,
it's gonna be a lot of fun to watch these guys go out there and make that money.
Absolutely. Well, hey man, we've got more football coming because let's not forget in 2 weeks we got the NFL draft coming in.
Can't wait,
folks. A little preview for you here. We're gonna be starting to talk about the draft here, be it X-Bomb Sports, Blow the Whistle. We're going to start examining not just the NFL draft. Obviously, we're going to get into the Bears, too, on what they're going to be drafting. We've kind of talked about it little by little, but we're going to deep dive a little bit more into who they should take on our perspective. Hopefully, somebody worth it.
If you go defense with one of those second-round picks, I'm going to freak out.
You never know. You never know. David, you have any comments for you there, folks?
I honestly think you should throw it out to our audience and have them send in names that they want us to talk about.
There you go. That's a good one. I like. You know what? Yeah, let's do that. So you guys, to the X-Bomb, to the Blow the Whistle, to everybody out there, send us your emails, send us your messages, all that kind of stuff, social media, wherever you want. Let us know if there's any NFL prospects you want us to talk about. If there's anybody you think is good for what team and stuff. I know. I've got a couple of them. Some people have sent them in. Some people think I'm crazy on some of the response I say. So we'll get into that obviously more. So one of your boys is supposed to go pretty high. So we'll definitely have to talk about him for sure.
Yes, he will.
So, but yeah,
supposed to.
Yes, supposed to. He will. Yeah. There you go. But good call on that, David. Like that. So yeah, guys, please. Flow it out there. Yeah,
one of them definitely will.
Yeah, yes, absolutely.
One of them definitely will.
Shots fired over there.
And
the
then
man got injured.
And then
okay?
one of them.
Some
team deep down in the first round's gonna get a steal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Possibly Kansas City, as we've seen on a few. We will see, folks. We will see, and we will discuss that more.
Now, okay, if he were to fall, I wouldn't be upset. If he were to fall to 39,
he's pretty good.
Oh, you wouldn't mind that one, Drew?
That's a defensive guy I wouldn't mind because this dude's like first round talent. Was going to be like a top 5, but maybe pick top 10 at worst.
I'm not against it. Listen, you got rid of one defensive end, you need to get another in there. So I'm just saying.
I wouldn't be overly excited because yes, it is defense and offense is a big thing, but they do have that next second round pick. They could
see how it's already turned into an NFL draft.
Robert Quinn, I heard a little something. I don't know if it's true or not.
Yep.
Maybe trade him and get into that first round.
Possibly.
That could happen. Then. All right.
Sky's the limit at this point, folks.
Ryan Poles, I got your draft figured out for you.
Yeah, and maybe just target a giant wide receiver from North Dakota State. I'm just saying. It's all up to you, Ryan Poles. We're not trying to force you to do anything.
We'll see if they can find a way in the first round. They may They may get somebody better.
They truly might. They truly might. Well, folks, we're going to just jump right into baseball next year. And I hope you've enjoyed that little preview there for the NFL draft. More to come.
I'm so excited.
More to come, folks. Absolutely. All right, well, let's talk about baseball because obviously the baseball season has begun. 2 teams here in Chicago. They've been doing a terrific job thus far. Obviously today, not a great look for one team on the north side, and we'll start with them. But right out of the gate, we got the Chicago Cubs, and we'll start there with them. So as of today, they lost to the Pirates 6-2. It was not their best look, but still, they are 3-2. They're second in the NL. So far, they have scored 22 runs. They've allowed 16 runs to be scored on them. But we've seen this before with the Cubs, right? I mean, we've seen this team kind of out the gate. They start very well. And at this point, I mean, I've seen a little bit more disappointment. There's been a lot of good moments, at least with pitching, some great defensive plays, and some really good moments with the offense for sure. One man in particular has really been killing it. But I pass it to you, Drew. Yeah. What do you think about the Cubs' start thus far in these first 5 games? I know the Sox are about to play here soon, folks, or they have started playing, I think, at this point. But what do you think for the Cubs at this point? What do you think about their start thus far?
I mean, when going into this season, you expect it to not go well.
Right.
You expect things to not work out for them very well. And to see them take 2 out of 3 from the Brewers, who have 3 starting pitchers right out the gate that are studs. 2 Cy Young winners.
Yep.
And a third being very, very good.
Mm-hmm.
And to take 2 of 3 from them was fun.
Yeah.
Okay. This is the kind of things we need to find as Cubs fans to make this season bearable.
Okay.
Okay. The Seiya Suzuki, the good pitching starts, we just beat up on the Brewers for 2 of 3.
Right.
Okay. It's not going to be an overall good year.
Right.
It's just what it is. No matter how hot they come out of the gates, we've seen it before. Yes, this is a totally different team. These are guys trying to prove themselves. So you're going to see a lot of that. A lot of guys going out there and maybe playing harder than what we've seen before because they're just guys.
Right.
Overall.
Right.
But to see how Hap comes out of the gate and has a tremendous opening series, hitting the ball, doing really well. You got your Seiya Suzuki who they paid. They got here 5 years. He's a rookie, comes from Japan. He's 27. But this guy is a professional hitter.
Absolutely.
You can tell right out of the gate, this guy's there to hit the ball, swing the bat, but he's got a good eye as well.
Yeah.
So you've seen him mix in some power, which is nice.
Yep.
But it's the walks, the getting on base type of things that you've seen from him starting that shows this guy belongs.
Absolutely.
He looks like he belongs, and I'm very glad that the Cubs were able to get him.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm trying not to be too down on anything that happens with this team.
Right.
In a negative form because this is what I expect. I don't expect them to win a ton. Okay, if they win 70-something, 80 games, that's what I expect it to be.
Mm-hmm.
They win in the 80s, I will be excited for that.
Right.
I mean, is this division really that great where potentially 80-something wins couldn't get them somewhere?
Right.
Never know. I don't see that happening just because when you have a guy like Hendricks who had a pretty bad day today.
Yeah.
Okay, that was the problem last year. Hot and cold. He had some really good starts, had some really bad ones.
Yeah.
Came out pitching opening day, did really well.
Absolutely.
Now his second start, not so hot.
Right.
Okay, so he's going to have to figure some things out, and he has to be, if they're going to get to that point, he has to be an ace all the way through. You're going to have some lulls, but he's got to be the guy, and he's got to go.
Absolutely, yeah.
You can't have games like today. But anything positive out of this team, I will take and be happy with.
I understand that, man. And you know what? This team, again, I've said this last year, I will say it, and I said this the year before, and I'll say it again. With a hot start, there is always a great opportunity for a team to be able to take that momentum and keep going forward, right? Obviously, there's a lot of looming things for the Cubs, right? With possibly moving on from Contreras. Now I've heard It's a slight rumor, but the possibility of Hendricks maybe getting moved or something like that. That's only a slight rumor at the moment. Obviously, I think it's a lot more stir-up talk on, well, what can we get for the guy, right? It's all that kind of stuff. Seiya Suzuki, I mean, listen, first player since like 1910 or something like that, with 8 RBIs and 4 walks in his first 4 games or something like that. Like, incredible numbers to put up like that. This team, like you said, though, this division is not tough. It's not really that hard. The Cardinals, they've kind of jumped out to an early start. They're going to do that. I mean, a lot of these teams are going to do that. The Brewers, I think, are just kind of getting warmed up. They'll be probably a little bit better by the All-Star break for sure.
Yeah, everybody thought pitching was going to be the one thing that started out a little slow. So.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we got to remember 99 days without any spring training. These guys were rushed in there, and they had to go from the get-go. It was like, go. You got to get ready. You got to be ready. So there's going to be a lot of struggles, right? We're going to see that. I mean, Corbin Burns, the best pitcher in baseball last year, one of the best pitchers in baseball, won the Cy Young, like you said, and nothing. Goodbye. See you later. So I see for the Cubs the future, and we'll get to the future here, but there's a bright sign there. You got to keep the car on the road at this point. That's all it is.
Right.
For the White Sox, and I'll do it really quick, and then I'll pass it to you. Listen.
Better.
I know. Look, this team, I think they started really great. I think the pitching's done well. Yes, not having Lance Lynn hurts them. Now Giolito's going to be out for his next 2 starts. That ultimately does hurt the team a lot more as well. But offensively, I think they've done a great job picking up the pace. I think their defense is there. I think Pollock's been great for this team. Robert looks like he's going to be chasing a potential MVP maybe. Cease looked on his game, and I think he's going to be maybe a dark horse to possibly win some Cy Young awards potentially. So I would
keep that under control.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure can, because his stuff is electric.
Yeah, and Kopech had a good start too, and I will give him that. And if he can keep that going on, I think there's a very good chance that you can see him actually progress and get better and become that pitcher, that starting pitcher that you wanted. But Drew, I'll ask you for the White Sox, what have you thought so far about their starts? Obviously, right now, folks, they're in a rain delay, so they're not going to start right off the bat. But what do you think so far for the White Sox?
I mean, they've been good. Even though they're missing players, they have guys not there with them to play. So even though they're having these early injuries, I'd rather see them early than late, right? So I'm not concerned with the start either way at this point. These baseball seasons are so long.
Yeah.
You have teams going from first to last in their divisions from All-Star break to the end of the season. So
right.
This team is solid. They have bats all the way around. The offense is never going to be a problem for this team. And they have solid players on defense. Just once they get their guys back and get rolling and get to summer baseball here, I think they're going to be just fine. They're still looking for other options for pitching in the meantime as well. But this team can mash. And, like you said, Luis Robert, dude, this guy is unreal.
Yeah.
He is for sure. I see him being in the MVP race and just taking another step this year. I don't know what else to say about him. He's got an all-around game.
Yeah.
A really strong arm. Plays that outfield really well.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And can mash at the plate.
Yeah. Thank you, Jose Abreu. Buenos dias, my friend. Yes, indeed. That's not actually what that means. All right.
So, I'm not concerned about this team. Whatever, even Hendricks in the closer role. The guy's fun to watch. He's a lightning rod out there for sure.
Who doesn't love that wildly Australian?
Yeah. Watching him out there just trying to pump himself up and swearing at himself when he's pissed off.
Very Max Scherzer-esque.
Yeah, it's very entertaining. This team's a very good team.
Yeah.
They're not done yet. So there's still moves this team can make going forward and then before the trade deadline. So I'm not concerned about the White Sox. I think they're going to be there in the end and have a very good chance of making a World Series run this year.
Absolutely. I'm right there with, and I hope you're right. I hope they can make some sort of run. David, you got some comments, my friend?
I just want to bring up maybe one of the most underrated moves the White Sox have made in getting Cueto. I think that's going to be sneaky good, and I'm being real honest about that.
Yeah. I
You only need him for 5 innings
yeah.
per start. He'll eat him up.
He's still a good pitcher.
And did I hear the words dark horse, Cy Young, and Cease come out of your mouth?
Yes, you did.
The
You
only
heard that.
dark horse is that mustache he's trying to grow.
Very, very well said, David. Listen, I would love a mustache like that. Okay, see this? This is actually not even hair. This is pencil. All right,
You poor
folks.
bastards.
I know.
You poor bastards.
All right. Well, I mean, real quick, Drew. We'll just sum it all up. How do you feel like the Cubs are going to do in their next 7 games going forward against Colorado and Tampa? And how do you feel like the Sox are going to do against Tampa and Cleveland?
So the Cubs, Colorado, again, they've made some moves. They've improved their team.
Yeah.
So they're okay. They're nothing special.
Right.
I think Chris Bryant's going to be amped up to play the Cubs, no matter where they're playing.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Cubs, it's going to be another game to them. It's a bunch of players who are like, yeah, whatever.
Right.
Some of them are going to they're going to want to win to beat a guy who they're teammates
Mhm.
with. So I see that, but I mean, I think they can win. They can win these games.
Okay.
Okay. Tampa's a better team. Somehow they managed to be a good team year after year with the limited payroll that they have and limited resources. So
Mm.
Tampa's going to be a little tougher for them, but they have 4 at Colorado. I think they could take 2 or 3 of those.
Yeah.
Split with them, and then Tampa maybe see them getting more like 1.
Okay.
They could win 2, but they have to be on point, and pitching's got to do something.
Okay.
So, and as far as the White Sox can beat. I'm not worried about Cleveland. Cleveland's nothing special.
Yeah.
Tampa Bay still, they're always been a good team, but are they that good this year?
Okay.
So, I think the Sox are going to be just fine. They could take majority of these games. They could do a 4-game sweep at Cleveland. Maybe Cleveland will take 1 out of there. But as far as Tampa, I'll say they go 2-1 versus Tampa.
All right. I'll say it just real quick, folks. 4-3 for the Cubs in their next 7, 5-2 for the White Sox in their next 7. And we'll just close it out on that, folks. And that's going to do it for our show. And I hope you all have enjoyed this one. I know it was a little bit short, but again, I hope you guys enjoyed this content. I'm glad we were able to do it. We also got our boys in the back as well to kind of get the discussion in. So, Drew, as always, thank you so much. As I always love having you, man.
Always love to be here.
Absolutely. Let
Short
the people
and sweet, just like us.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Well, please let the people
I'm
know
a
where
little taller than you guys.
Well, yeah. Don't rub it in. Where can they find you and where they can listen to you, you tall man?
Not that tall.
Yeah.
Enough. Well, you can find me right here on Wednesdays and Thursdays, and check me out on Instagram at d.gwil25 and Facebook at Drew Gwillem.
There you guys go. David, you want to shout yourself out real quick, man, before we get out of here?
You can find me on Instagram at ddykstra4. You can
We
also
still haven't
find me
changed that. Sorry.
Yeah. You keep saying it, man, and you never do.
I know. We'll get it changed. I promise.
You can find me on Twitter at David Dykstra4. You can also find me every Monday or Friday,
Mm-hmm.
2 to 4. We do a little show called Blow the Whistle. I wish I could promote something else, but I can't until it's official. You can also catch us most Tuesdays, 2:30 to 3:30, doing our live stream Blow the Whistle as well.
Yep, there you guys go. Well, guys, obviously make sure to hit us up on our social media. We're just going to rip right through it. Facebook, you can find us there where we're live streaming also too. Make sure to find us on the YouTube as well. So make sure you guys go check us out there. Instagram and Twitter at XBomb Sports. You guys can find, I know I'm all over the place now because we're on short on time. You guys can find me. I'm at The Fluffy Guru on Twitter, Mr. Boom Crew Captain on Instagram. You guys can mostly find me. Obviously, if you guys have any questions, comments. I'm sorry, TJ. I'm so flustered. I want to get us out of here. So
YouTube, Facebook,
so I'm
Instagram,
not getting yelled at.
Snapface.
Yeah, there
Do
you
it.
go. And of course, the
Got 'em all.
email xbsportsofficial@gmail.com. Make sure hit us up there as well. Find us on all the podcast stuff. You guys know, Blow the Whistle. Yeah, you got Monday Motivation with Hannah B. You guys also got, Fake Football Guys and the Parlay, and also our guy Brandon. Make sure to check him out too. Baseball Banter with Brandon, and he's also the host at 94.3 WMKR as well. God. All right. We got to get out of here, folks. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all so much for listening. We love you all so much. And as always, much love.
Bye.
Peace out, Boom Crew.